Hi, everybody. James Escarcega, along with the man who was part of the 63,000 people that were at the Rose Bowl Saturday to watch UCLA defeat LSU, the one and only Brad Robledo. Fred, you fired
Yeah,
up,
what a
huh?
what a what a great weekend in Pasadena, James.
I
I
thought
never,
going to games was overrated.
yeah. I
Whatever.
never imagined that many people were going to show up. I knew it was going to be packed. I didn't know it'd feel like there was an empty seat in the house. I mean, that was old school UCLA football, and it was great to see them get a win. We're
Yep, and
back.
then
The
yeah,
monopoly in
and then
LA
we got the
is
Rams
over.
tonight. Got the Rams on Sunday Night Football against the Bears. Fred
Yep,
is all about it, so to speak.
from the
Fred,
little
yeah,
nice
look
little
at that
gift from
shirt.
Jamesy
I
there.
can't
You'll be at the
imagine who gave you that polo, Freddie.
Yeah, it's nice, James, and you'll be at the game on Sunday.
I
Enjoy
will
it.
be. I am going to enjoy it, all of it, so to speak. Fred, before we talk about this week's games, let's kind of go back to last week. And we all knew Glendora was good, but I think this kind of puts it over the top, for me at least, and shows that they are one of the elite teams in the area.
Yeah, I thought defensively is what really impressed me. Charter Oak, when I saw them the opening week, they were able to run the ball at will, and they were able to pass the ball. Vincent Farrar was able to move the ball when needed to. Glendora really just shut them down, James. They shut down the run game. They forced Vince into some rush throws, and there were 4 interceptions there. And that's what's going to make them tough, I think, the rest of the year. That was the difference between those two teams. Charter Oak's defense, almost equally impressive when you look at the way Glendora scored late. It was off of those turnovers and off of some things. So I thought Charter Oak's defense is going to be fine. I think they have some things they need to work on offense. But, yeah, Glendora's 3-0. They're real. And, they have a game this week against Los Altos. And then next week, I think it starts to get really tough on their schedule the rest of the way when they get in the league.
True, and they also have a game against West Covina as well before they get
Yeah,
to that
those two
14 league
games.
that you were talking about. Is Charter Oak going to be okay, you think?
Oh, yeah. I think they're going to be fine. That league, though, is going to be difficult because they're going to have to beat Bonita and Ayala's in that league, right?
Yes, correct.
So those are going to be 2 tough games to win. But, they're a good team. I think they feel like they took one on the chin, and they're going to look at the turnovers and say, hey, if we clean those up, maybe things could have been differently. And, maybe they're right. But I was surprised they had the difficult they did, running the football, because I know that was an area they really wanted to shore up. It looked like old school Charter Oak that first week when they played the team from the central section. So we'll see how things go this week. They've got a tough game at Chino Hills on Friday. And so that's just another big test for Dom Farrar and crew.
And we'll talk about that game as we get to the lightning round here. Freddie, we are starting to see some of the divisions kind of lay out, so to speak. Although it's still, I would caution everybody, still a little early. I think it's pretty much safe to say that St. Francis is going to probably be somewhere between Division 3 and 4, and I think Glendora is going to be in the same boat as well.
Yeah, well, I think you just have to look how the season play out. I think it's fun to kind of look at that week to week and see how teams move up and down. Heck, Bishop Amat moved up a few spots. I mean, in terms of points, they moved up by losing by 40 points to St. John Bosco. That shows you what a strength of opponent can do. Yeah, in Glendora, they're going to have some tough games towards the middle of the year. It's going to get tougher. St. Francis, they've got a tough game this week. I don't see them winning that game. So they're probably going to start 1-2, and then you got to get through league and you got to qualify through league, and then we'll see where you land in the divisions. But you're right; those are going to be Division 3, 4, 5 teams when it's all said and done. It's just something we're going to have to monitor week by week and see how they move up and move down.
And I think we're going to have to keep a close eye out on the teams like Baldwin Park. They're 2-0 right now. They're kind of buried in the rankings. If they're going to get in Division 10 and 11, they catch the right draw, and the next thing you know it, Freddie, we're covering them in the semifinals.
Well, I don't know that we'd be covering them in the semifinals. Now, look, just because you have let's say you're a Baldwin Park. Now here's some teams that are going to probably win leagues with the new Division 4 setups. You're going to have Baldwin Park win a league. Sierra Vista is probably going to win that league. That's a 3-team league now, and they're going to need to apply to get in because it's a 3-team league. I think Walnut is a team that can win its league this year when you look at that one. And there was one other team that I wanted to say looks really. Ganesha is going to probably win their league now, and they'll probably be in that Division 12 to 14 range. But I don't think that means necessarily they're going to go on and win it. I think they're benefiting from being in leagues that are going to get them in the playoffs when in normal years they probably wouldn't make it. So this is really what it created. They want to, wear championship belts for winning league championships. Go right ahead. I don't think that necessarily is going to equate to a Division 14 or 13 championship because there's going to be a lot of good teams that do get in those divisions that I think are just going to be better. I don't know that, Baldwin Park, we'll have to see that. I don't know that they're going to play anyone really tough on their schedule, James. That's going to really let us know. They may or may not lose a game. So we'll have to see. Ganesha, who you would think after what they did in the spring, and they're one of the ones who felt really good about winning the Miramonte. They got beat bad by Arroyo, and then Rosemead goes in there and stomps them. And now they got Pomona this week. They're a team that can, lose all their non-league games, and they're going to go in the Miramonte and go undefeated and raise another championship belt. So we'll see what those leagues really mean and how far they go. But I think for some of those teams at the bottom end of the East San Gabriel Valley and the 4-team leagues, winning those league championships is going to be the highlight, I think, of their season.
Okay. And we'll see it all play out, so to speak, going down the line. Freddie, let's get to work here. We got a lot of great games, especially on Thursday night, we want to talk about. But first, let's talk about our 3 games of the week. And the first game is the game sounds like I'm going to be at, unless we change things at the last minute, which is Orange Lutheran is going to Damien. Damien with their signature win last week over St. Francis, and it was a signature win, Fred. Let's not beat around the bush here. Now they're home against a Trinity League team. Matt Bechtel has wanted a Trinity League team on his schedule, and he's got it.
Yeah, and I think Orange Lutheran, I'd have to check, in CalPreps is ranked 9, and Damien is ranked 13. Am I correct?
I'll check for you right now, so go ahead and talk. I'm going to check real fast for you.
But while you're checking, yeah, I really do believe, and I put it on social media earlier in the week, that Damien can beat him. I think it's a real winnable game against a Trinity League team because they're not, Orange Lutheran's not Servite. They're not Bosco. They're not Mater Dei. They're not on that level. They're on that next tier of teams that's going to play for the 4th, 5th, and 6th in that league. And when you look at what they've done against their first 3 opponents, it's looked pedestrian in some ways. They haven't been blowing people out. I really think Damien is in a spot here on a Friday night where they can really, really make some noise. And you saw what they did last week. That was the pressure game to me. They took off some of that pressure, getting the win they had to get against St. Francis. So I think they go into Friday, James, with a real opportunity, team that's playing well, that can score points, that defensively I thought really gave it to Loyola and a game they really should have won in week 1. And Loyola is a top 15 ranked team by CalPrep. So I love Damien in this spot. And if Damien wins here, this is the toughest game, I think, on their schedule. We could talk about Bishop Amat in week 5, but I think this is going to be the toughest game on their schedule. They win this game. Wow. I mean, that's for Matt Bechtel and those guys, when you talk about all roads lead to Damien, this is the signature one.
Sure is.
I'm taking Damien.
You're taking Damien on Friday. I'm taking Orange Lutheran.
Yeah, and you're going to be there. Let them know. Let them know what you feel.
Absolutely. Orange Lutheran is ranked 10th. Damien is ranked 13th.
Right.
Loyola,
okay.
just in case you're wondering, is ranked 12th.
Right.
So they're all. This is those likes.
Yeah, that's why that's why I think they've got a shot. This is the right Trinity League team to play that gives you an opportunity. I don't think we've looked at the last couple of years. I watched Damien in the spring get Servite in that scrimmage. They didn't deserve to be in that. Not, I shouldn't say deserve. They weren't nearly. They couldn't handle that. That was too much. They played Corona Centennial in a scrimmage a few weeks ago. They got manhandled there. People telling me 40-something, late 40-something to nothing. So I think this is a much more manageable game, just like the Loyola game. Orange Lou's probably a little better than Loyola. But I think Damien can shock some folks here because it will be a shock to a lot of people outside the Valley if they can win this. When I put this up, Eric Sonheimer at the Times kind of laughed it off like, that tweet's not going to age well. We'll see how that tweet ages on Friday.
I do believe it's going to be a close game, though. I do believe it'll be a close game on Friday night. So I'll be there, Orange Lutheran and Damien. Then we're going to go let's talk about the game that you're going to be at, Fred. And this game really has quietly caught our attention here, so to speak. So we got Northview versus Covina. We have two really good quarterbacks that are going to be facing off against each other. Two good coaches. Rival game. This is like all the makings of what should be a pretty good game here, Freddie.
Yeah, Covina's freshman quarterback last week, James, throwing for 350 plus and 7 touchdowns was the final number. And, you got Arianas over at Northview. And plus, these are teams that have been in the same league forever and are not now because of these new 4-team leagues. But kudos to them. They're going to keep scheduling each other. So you've got this great non-league game against rivals that really don't like each other, can't stand losing to each other. And I think they're both right there on the cusp. We saw Northview really give Charter Oak a run for their money for a half. And I'm really curious to see them because I'm wondering how they're going to hang later on when we get in the Valley Vista League against the Diamond Ranches and the San Dimases. And, Covina, that was a big win for them. They had lost their first game, but look, they played Glendora. Covina had played Glendora, so not a lot to look into that. Glendora's on another level right now. We all know that. So they go ahead and play Diamond Bar, and they gave up a lot of points, but they scored a lot of points. So I'm expecting a shootout on Friday night, James. I think it has all the makings of what can be just one of those great Covina Northview football games. Crowd's probably going to be good. And this wasn't a game when you're looking at games on your schedule, on your radar that you were going to cover in the beginning of the season. I can't say this was one that was on my radar at the beginning, but it is now. I think it's a great game to go watch and see what happens. And I'm taking Northview in a really close game. There's my pick.
I'm taking that too. I'm taking Northview by 2 touchdowns.
That's my call. Yeah, I think it'll be inside of 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be more than that. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring 35-20-something game.
Absolutely. And it'll be a big weekend at District Field. We're going to talk about the other game in just a moment that's going to take place on Saturday. And then, Freddie, there's the Pasadena Star News Game of the Week. And as games go, this one's going to be emotional. You've got public versus privates. You've got it's Muir at LaSalle. You've got LaSalle getting Will Clardy, one of the top receivers in the area. First game he's going to play this year from where he played at last year, Muir. It all works out in the end, right, Freddie? So here we go.
Yeah, and that was the younger brother, Clardy, who was over there last year. And we'll see, what kind of receiver he was. I don't think he got a lot of run or too much run at Muir last year. He was a good receiver. He's going to LaSalle. I really don't think that's the big storyline, James. I think the big storyline is, Muir was a team that there was a lot of question marks. Some guys had left the program. They had COVID. They had a COVID situation. They'd had to cancel a game because equipment issues and not getting, players through their physicals. And they show up last week and just look great in opening week and they get a big win. And now they're going against, LaSalle, who has, they can put up a lot of points. I just think it's a great game for both teams. And when you have Pasadena on the other side, who's obviously Muir's rival, playing so well and coming off that big win over Paraclete, and you got the whole red is better thing going on. And, people talking about Pasadena now, owning the town for the next 10, 20 years. I mean, they're so excited over there because they're finally having this year. We forget that, Muir's still here until they're not. And they won their first game. I'll remind Pasadena, they're the only undefeated public school in Pasadena still. They're 1-0. Those first two games were non-contests that they didn't have to play. So this is a big test for Mir because there's obviously a lot of pride over there in Altadena. They know what's happening on the other side of town with Pasadena. They know what people are saying about them. And wouldn't it be just like them to come out in a game like this and get a big win? What do you got, James?
I am going to take LaSalle.
Yeah, I think LaSalle's going to be able to score. I'm going to go with the upset here, and I call this an upset because I think even though Mir won last week, I think this is the game where they can, this is the game they really need. If they're even thinking about doing anything in the Pacific League, they need to show it here against LaSalle. So I'm taking Mir simply because they've got a lot of football players left in the tank over there, James. And I think you're going to see them show up on Friday and let everyone know that in some ways they're still Mir.
And remember, LaSalle has Freddie's #1 preseason quarterback in Richie Munoz, who's put up some pretty good numbers this year, Freddie.
Problem with LaSalle is they give up a lot of points. And Mir's the type of team who scores a lot of points. It's going to be a 45-41 game, James. Let's just be honest. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Mir's athletes, and we saw Mir score at will last week. And Mir's defense, what did they put up, a goose egg?
They did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, so let's see what LaSalle – I just think Mir's offense is going to outscore LaSalle's offense. And I think the difference could be that Mir's defense is a little better. Mir.
Okay, so those are the 3 games of the week. And those are really good games. These are games you're going to see on print on Saturday morning. Freddie, let's talk about a couple other games here before we hit the lightning round here. And the first one is going to be the game you're going to be at on Thursday night over at Kiefer Field. It's Servite and Bishop Amat. I'm a little torn here, Freddie, because I really think Amat might be more competitive here. But at the same time, this is, from what I've been told, this is one of Servite's better teams in years.
Well, yeah, and you look at Servite, look at the CalPreps rankings. We were just talking about those. 1 Mater Dei, 2 St. John Bosco, who Bishop Amat just placed. Who's next? Servite. And Servite's probably a solid number 3. I think they're, well, who's number 4? They're probably
number 4 is Centennial, but the gap is pretty wide.
Yeah, and you look at what Servite did last week, smacking Mission Viejo. Mission Viejo is one of the great public school teams around, and they beat them by almost 40 points, something close to that. So this is going to be another major test at Kiefer. Look, I don't expect them to win. I think what you're right. I expect them to be more competitive. They felt what that looks like last week going into St. John Bosco and, really going up against a team of that caliber. So they're going to have that experience, James. They made some mistakes in that game. That was a game. They had an opportunity to make that game against Bosco more competitive than it was. I was kind of following along. And I think coming back home on a Thursday night, I think they're going to be in a more competitive game. Now, the whole key is going to be the start. Servite's got a great quarterback going to Arizona who's averaging like 300 yards right now, and he can also run the ball. He's going to be
Noah Fafita.
Yeah, Fafita. And, Bishop Amat's defense, that's going to be really hard for them to handle. I don't think they can match him score for score. But let's see if they can run the ball a little better and just keep their offense off the field and chew up some clock. I think Bishop Amat has a chance to make this maybe a 17 to 20 point game. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout. I think they're capable of making it a 17 to 20 point game. I'd be shocked if this game was under 14 points. So obviously the pick is Servite.
True. I would pick Servite too, but just remember it's Kiefer.
Yeah.
And there's something magical about that place, where, you think it's a 4 touchdown game and then all of a sudden it's the 4th quarter and Amat's only down by 7 with the ball with a chance to tie it up. It's just one of those places, man. Yeah. I just can't explain it. But I am picking Servite as well. But this game's going to help, I think, Amat down the line here. This is one of those games that they need to play.
Well, and how does it help them if people are asking? It can help them with what division they wind up in. It's going to help them probably when they get to the Mission League because there's no teams like this in the Mission League that they're going to go up against. They're also going to have Damien in a couple weeks after that. After this, they have Lusinger next week, which is also a pretty good team. Heck, there's a chance Almont can start 1-4. There's a chance they go 2-3 and win the next 2 weeks, or 3-2, or 2-3. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities for them. But at the end of the day, the way the divisions are set up and the roads to CIF championships, winning and losing these games aren't as important. If you lose, you can say, oh, well, maybe this gets us into a division that we can win towards the end of the year. So I think teams are just trying to get better each week. And, if Bishop Amat can pull the upset here, it'd be a shocker. But I would bet you Steve Hagerty, they just want to get better this week, be more competitive, and then look at the schedule the rest of the way after this. Because these are two juggernauts, James. There's not a lot of – I mean, how many teams are taking on two of the top three teams in the first 4 weeks? I don't know anybody unless they're playing each other. So Bishop Amat is, through the first 3 weeks of their schedule, will have played the best schedule possible in Southern California. Let's just be honest.
And let's just remember, too, Freddie, this game was originally scheduled as a week 0 game. And they had to push this game down because Bishop Amat was on COVID health and safety protocols. So let's just put that out there, too. It wasn't as if they put this back-to-back, COVID kind of dictated the situation here, so to speak. So the other game that we should talk about, Freddie, is Saturday night at District Field. It's the Smudge Pot. It's Bonita versus San Dimas. And one thing I've noted the last couple of years is that Mr. Steve Bogan has owned this rivalry.
Yeah, and I think he's going to own it again. Look, San Dimas is 3-0. And, this past game against Santa Fe.
Actually, they're 2-1. They're actually 2-1, Freddie.
San Dimas is 3-0.
Oh, 3-0. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm thinking Bonita's 2-1.
Yeah, let's start with San Dimas. They're 3-0. They haven't played anybody yet, James. And I've been getting these reports that, they just haven't looked themselves or what they've been the last few years. And this last game was probably the most evidence of that. Santa Fe hadn't scored a point in its first 2 games, and they've really been down, really trying to get it going. I mean, they're really in a rebuilding phase. And San Dimas, that's a game, I was joking with someone, if there were running clocks in the first quarter, you might see a running clock in the first quarter. And they really struggled to put on a lot of points or blow them out. And that was a closer game than I thought it was going to be. And meanwhile, Bonita, they've beaten Lucerna, and that win looks a lot better today after what Lucerna did last week. Bonita lost a really tough game, and they came back last week and had a blowout. So, I think Bonita is going to, if Bonita was able to beat that good San Dimas team last year, the spring, James, this is going to be a blowout here. I think it could be a blowout. I think it's going to be a 3-touchdown game.
They didn't play in the spring, Freddie.
I'm sorry, the last time they played, which was a great San Dimas team.
It was a really good San Dimas team. And we should keep in mind, too, that as quarterbacks go, there's nobody better at developing quarterback than Coach Bogan, and he's got one in Daniel Andrade. When I talked to him the other night, he really likes the progression he has made at quarterback. This is his first season totally under center as the starter. He's done a pretty good job.
Well, when has Bogan had a bad quarterback?
That is true.
Someone let me know. I mean, whoever he's mentoring always seems to do well. And when he's got talent, a talented quarterback, they seem to do great. And I think this one is trending that way. Like I said, and their defense, they had a shutout last week. Their defense is pretty good. They were able to, out-duel Lucerna. So I just think San Dimas, this is their first real test. San Dimas has this game, and I think Monrovia next week. So these next 2 weeks are really big for San Dimas before they go into league, and they got to deal with Los Altos, Diamond Ranch, and Northview. So I think the easy part of San Dimas' schedule is totally behind them now. And I think the rude awakening is coming on Saturday night when they play Bonita.
One person we should also note that has helped out Daniel Andrade quite a bit is Chris Ricks, who runs his Champion Quarterbacks Academy. He's one of the kids that he's worked with, and it's evident right away that he's already got 3 offers too, Freddie. So, and we're not even halfway through the season. So that just tells you how much potential he has. So we're both going to take Bonita here on Saturday night at District Field. Okay, Fred.
So what does that bring it up? What's next?
All right, Freddie, here we go. Time for the lightning round. That's right, everybody. We're going to go 7 games, quick takes, get in, get out of the way here. And again, another solid week on the schedule here, Freddie. Let's first talk about Thursday night. I think this game's going to be closer than you think here. It's Glendora at Los Altos.
Yeah, I don't. I think Los Altos lost 35-0 to Ayala, and I look at Glendora and Ayala kind of as similar opponents. And I don't see it. If Charter Oak had problems putting 14 points on the board, I don't know where Los Altos' points are going to come from. I know Glendora is going to score at least 28. I like Glendora by 3 touchdowns or more.
Thursday night game. This is a Friday night game here. I'm sorry. It's Lucerna versus Tesoro at Cal High. No team, Freddie, needed a win bigger than Lucerna did last week, and they got it.
Yeah, and I think they needed it more so for their confidence more than anything else, especially after the way they lost week 2. And I like them against Tesoro, James. I think they what's Tesoro's record?
I think they're 3-0, but you can go right ahead.
Oh, that's not the team I was thinking about. Yeah. I don't know. Now I don't know.
They're 1-2. I'm sorry, they're 1-2.
They are okay. See, James, you threw me out there. I thought when I was looking at it, because I was looking at it and you said 3-0. It threw me off. Yeah, I like Lucerna's chances to get to 500 this week. That was big. That was big to go on the road and get that one, and they needed that because the Del Rio League is going to be a real monster this year.
Charter Oak is at Chino Hills. Freddie, this is a great game.
There you go. Now there's a game. Charter Oak. If they're feeling bad about last week, they better throw that one away right now because Chino Hills is tough. They've kind of reshuffled the cards over there with their new coaching staff. This is a tough game to call, James. Wow. I think I'm gonna go with Charter Oak to pull this one out in a really, really close game. I just think they can do it. I think they're going to be able to run the ball and get some points. Their defense is going to show up, and this is one of those games that they're going to get by.
Pasadena is at Culver City. Another terrific game here, Freddie.
Yeah. I'm taking Pasadena until someone knocks them off. Now that win last week over Paraclete, and really holding them to I think 3 touchdowns. The thing about Pasadena is, I know they're going to be able to score. I've been looking at, their defense is going to be important if they want to go deep. When the playoffs happen, and they start playing a lot tougher teams. And I think this is the game. They win this game, I think they're going to run the table in the Pacific League. So you have a chance to see a 9-1 Pasadena if they get past Culver City. And I'm taking the Bulldogs to do it.
I would never step on your segment here. The lock of the week, Culver City.
Okay. Why so?
Lock of the week. El Rancho at Montebello here, Coach.
El Rancho. I like what Adrian Madrano's doing over there. They can really run the football. Now, playing Sierra Vista last week doesn't tell you a whole heck of a lot because Sierra Vista's down. But, El Rancho, Cal, and Lucerna. Those are 3 teams, when they get in the league are going to really battle it out. I like El Rancho. That game is on the road, right? Yeah, the game is on the road. And when El Rancho gets back home, hey, people out there, let the fans in. Let them watch their team. Things are open everywhere. It's a great place to watch a game. They've got great fans. That's going to be a fun league. I hope I can get out to one of those battles this year, whether it's El Rancho, Cal, Lucerna, El Rancho. I really want to see one of those games because I think they're all going to be hard-fought, close games, James. Lucerna's not going to own this league like they have in recent years.
La Mirada is at Milliken. Another terrific matchup, Freddie.
Yeah, really. I like La Mirada. La Mirada's 2-1 now. They've kind of rebounded after that big loss. And look, they got Mater Dei to follow, I think, after this. So they better get these wins while they can get them. And credit to them for playing Mater Dei. And I think it's 2 weeks from now, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So I'm going to take La Mirada to win.
Sure is at Rosemead, and we mentioned this game, Freddie, because Rosemead's debuting or their new renovated stadium over at Rod Marinelli Stadium.
Nice for them. They had a good win, I think, in beating Ganesha last week. Sure, probably going to go Sure in this game, James. I think Sure is probably just a little bit better. I think it's a really, really good matchup, though. I think it's going to be a really close game that can go either way. But at this point, I think I like Sure just a little bit more, even though they're going to be debuting the new stadium.
Last game here, Arcadia is at Whittier. Freddie, I'm really fascinated by Arcadia so far this year.
Yeah, you know, they had they got beat down pretty good by Monrovia. Tough game, but I like Whittier, James. I think Whittier is going to be okay and get through this. Arcadia's got a pretty good quarterback, though. Wouldn't be surprised if they win, but I'm going to take Whittier.
Okay, so there you go, folks. 8 games in less than 2 minutes. We rifled them through here.
Can you believe this is already a month into the season? These are already game 4s now for a lot of teams.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that point where it's going to get week 5, week 6. We're going to get to that bye week where, you know, a lot of these teams are going to take their bye, so to speak. But at the same time, Freddie, it's a terrific schedule. And one of the things that we're going to keep an eye out for late Friday night, when Freddie gets back from Galvina District.
We're going to round it all up. We'll have game stories and scores from Thursday night and Friday night. We kind of put them all into our one-stop shop. It's the link that has all the links, and I'll have that up for you on Friday night, sometime around 10:30, between 10:30 and 11, when all of our guys are finished writing and we've got things up. And then you'll get ready for the big Saturday game, the Smudge Pot. So you have that as kind of the appetizer to follow, and you'll have James's column that'll run Saturday morning, and you can read that on Sunday too.
Dean Marshall will be at the Bonita San Dimas game. Yeah. Freddie, here we go.
And let me just finish, James, by encouraging everyone. I know that it's great that we're all back at the games, and watching these crowds were great. Look, I was among 70,000 at the Rose Bowl on Saturday. But let's wear our masks when we can. You know, I know you got to take it off when you eat and when you're having something to drink. But you don't see a lot of them in the high school stadiums. I didn't see a lot of them Saturday night. And, you know, this thing is starting to creep up on us again. You're seeing a lot of friends and family and people, you know, even vaccinated, coming down with the coronavirus. So it's going to be with us this fall. So wear your mask when you can, do your part, you know, help protect others, and those others will help protect you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. We can only control what we can control. But I just wanted to put it out there because you're starting to see it get a little bit worse. And look, it regardless of how you feel, it can't hurt to put on a mask, and it might make that person next to you feel a little bit better, a little bit more safer, and we could still watch the games and enjoy them just like you would without it on.
That's correct. And we should also mention, please, if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. You know, we should tell you that the quick story here, you know, Arroyo had 11 players through contact tracing, almost through COVID protocols, but luckily they only lost 1 player. The remaining 10 players were all vaccinated. So due to the regulations from the LA Department of Public Health, those guys were able to play on Friday. That was a huge difference, I think, because, you know, it was very close to having that game canceled on Friday as well. So, you know, again, folks, you know, just do yourself the favor and stay safe. And if that means, you know, you have to get vaccinated, please do so. We got booster shots coming up for the majority of us to make sure that we'll get through the rest of the year as well. Freddie, I'm really excited on Friday night. It's a great schedule here.
Yeah, no, it starts tomorrow, really, you know, going to Kiefer to watch Servite Almont. And I'm really looking forward to the Covina Northview game and what Damien can do against Olu. That I'm going to be paying attention to your tweets and what's going on over there. And then the Smudge Pot Saturday. It's just a good weekend of football. And we've got the NFL Thursday and Sunday, too, and college football Saturday. Just going to be a great weekend.
Freddie, have a great weekend, man.
You too.
Okay, and we want to thank you all for joining us. We did this side by side, hopefully for the first time, so you'll be able to see us side by side. And again, one reminder: please subscribe. You don't want to be behind a paywall reading all these great stories that we got and everything else. So for Freddie, I'm James. We'll see you all at the games. Until then, it's sayonara for now.